office in the federal.
Yeah.
And that is very important because that makes people kind of their own separate entity. It gives them their own rights, gives them their own... That's why we have the Bill of Rights. Mm-hmm. So that way we're not counted as the state or the federal in the Constitution. With that as well, we have... Fuck. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just letting you talk for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
So we were talking about the state and the federal thing. So are you asking me to choose one or the other?
Well, no. I'm just saying how that's like divided up.
Okay, so
that's how it is. And
give me certain, because I need to know. So give me certain things that the state can do that the federal can't.
Okay, so the federal government can declare war on other nations.
Give me 1 second. Let's do this.
Yeah, the federal government can declare war on other nations, which is a pretty fair thing. You know, the federal government has a power of the army and, is the working body of the president. The president is elected to the federal body of the government.
Can declare
a state cannot declare war on another country.
Okay, so the federal thing is basically
it's the federal government.
More world problems.
It is, well, it's the bigger government. It's the government you look for. It's kind of what you see as like an empire, or like this is like the main statute of a government. And it was a very interesting thing in the American system because we looked at Rome, who's expanded itself too far and tried to only have one legislator in Rome to make laws for everywhere. Like from the fucking Spain and Madrid all the way to fucking Greece and Saudi Arabia. They tried to make laws to affect all of them. And it didn't encompass all of the empire, and it was very slow, and it was bogged down.
Okay.
So for like local things, like your fishing license or who can build here, that's what a state does. Kind of decides that. That's really more county, but state decides what goes with the county.
I think that works fine then. I think that's a very good thing because if the federal had to keep doing stuff like that, then that would just take time away from them worrying about like
big things, yeah.
Uh-huh. And if the state had to worry about attacks from other countries, it takes time away from them. I think that works very well. I think that's a good thing.
But then there's
next question.
Then there's the this is kind of more of a like a judge lawyery question that a lot of like lawyers find kind of difficult. There's the Jeffersonian interpretation of the Constitution and the Hamiltonian interpretation of the Constitution. And what that means is like Jefferson believed that what was on the Constitution was it. That's what it said. That's what it meant. It didn't mean anything more. It wasn't up for interpretation.
Yeah,
it was exactly that.
Isn't that untrue? Didn't they make the Constitution specifically to be changed?
They made it. They made it so it was able to be amended. But that said, you couldn't just like interpret and like stretch it to mean like something it wasn't intentional like meant. Even though Thomas Jefferson did do this during his own presidency when he bought the Louisiana Purchase, which was a congressional power.
Yeah.
Hamilton believed in the interpretation of you can interpret it. Like you can kind of like expand it a little bit more.
I honestly think
and a very like
this might be where it throws a wrench in the thing, but I honestly think Hamilton has a point. Because I do believe, and this is going to completely ruin the thing we just talked about.
That's fine.
Well, not ruin the thing we just talked about, but I still do believe it was bad. Just put that out before I say it.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah,
certain things are different in a day and age, and they do change over time. Specifically how societies work and how they go along with things and stuff like that. And so certain things do need to be modified and amended and changed
and expanded
and tweaked,
upon. Yeah.
Just so it fits with the period as it's going along. So I don't think it should be interpreted as if someone looks at it and then says something completely different, something like that. I feel like more it should be a reference sheet. Like that's the base. And we keep building off of that specifically.
Well, that's more of the Jeffersonian belief of amending the Constitution and like writing it down.
Well, I think it's more would be like a mix of both, where you keep the Constitution, but then you amend it as time goes. That's
what Thomas Jefferson believed.
Oh, so that okay.
That is exactly that is exactly what he believed. Hamilton believed that it was like so one of the big things was like in the Constitution, it's like not pursuit of happiness, that was Declaration of Independence, but it was like pursuit of like freedom or some shit. It was some real like vagueness, but in the Constitution it was like it doesn't say anywhere specifically like we need schools. But that's something that people were like, okay, so to have like freedom of speech, people should be able to, you know, how to speak and how to like write.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that like go along, and that is going against like what they wrote down, because they just want people to speak freely. They didn't want to educate the people. That wasn't their intention, but you expand it to mean that because it's like, well,
because it just makes sense.
That would, it just makes sense. It just makes sense.
As you know, schooling became a bigger thing and stuff like that. Education became more and more important. It would just make sense to expand upon that and say,
yes, exactly. And that's what the Hamiltonian idea of what the Hamiltonian people believe, and that's what a lot of Supreme Court people, like Supreme Court judges and lawyers, have to take into consideration.
So yeah, I think
there should. Of the Constitution.
I think there should be a mix of both. Then, because I think we should keep the one as a base. And I do think interpretation should be allowed, but like I said, if someone...
There's limitations.
Yeah, we have the right to bear arms and then give every U.S. citizen a fucking RPG.
And this is where you see court cases for the Supreme Court come up. It's these big constitutional questions, and the Supreme Court usually has to decide, okay, do we take this interpretation, and what does it mean for the rest of the legal system? How does this affect everyone else? Or do we just say, no, this is not how it's written, this isn't how it goes? And then you have to interpret it from there. Like, what did the Founding Fathers intend? How does it affect the rest of the world? And it's a very big thing.
And that's where, I guess that's where the suits would come in. You can't really know what the Founding Fathers would have wanted unless you talk to them.
Well,
and you have to interpret what they wanted to think, and you might be wrong.
You might be wrong. Some people might disagree with you. Supreme Court judges disagree with each other all the time. That's why there's dissent. And there's the majority argument being, you know, the winning side, and then the dissent. Now, this doesn't mean that, like, constitutionally, like, if it shuts it down, it doesn't mean that, like, oh, you can't reference it in, like, a further case or, like, later on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, fucking Miranda rights. That was a big, like, constitutional question. Like, oh, they didn't read me then. No, yeah, it wasn't read
mine.
Apparently,
you don't need to be read yours anymore. Apparently, the Miranda rights, that's just something you don't need to do anymore, even though it's in the fucking Constitution, the 5th fucking amendment.
There's a whole case about
I know that one. I know that one. That's why I don't know why it didn't kick in my head when they arrested me before. But I don't get it. But apparently, sometimes the amendments don't even need to, because there's rules around it.
There's a lot of bullshit loopholes.
So I guess there's really not. We're getting off topic.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
But no, there's so many fucking loopholes. I guess it doesn't even matter what's in the Constitution.
Well, that's the law. It's your interpretation of it. Yeah. You know, and that's kind of where some people fall out of the law and might even be disillusioned by it, and that kind of fucks them up. But back to like governmental things.
We were
just ranting about the Supreme Court.
Well, no, because we had to get back to the questioning.
Oh yeah, the questioning. Okay, so
what was the last question?
What was the last question? The last question was well, I was really just explaining Republicans and Democrats and how, you know, the Democrats favor federal government,
it was the state,
and you favor the state.
And I said I would like I like how it is now.
Now, then there's the Libertarian Party. Now, the Libertarian, so where Democrats focus on the federal government, want to give more power to the federal government. Because
I don't think they need more power. I think it's very balanced right now.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying the Democrats, they want the federal government to have more power, so that way they can get things done quicker. I'm guessing
oddly there's more Democrats in the federal government than...
Yes, than Republicans, but Republicans make up the majority of the army because they believe in defending the state.
Why would the Democrats want to give the army to the...
Well, that's the military-industrial complex, and that's kind of a more complex topic I don't really want to put you with, because I just want to explain governmental types and just kind of let you go from there. But just know that Democrats want to give the federal government just power, money. They want to give it all to them, so that way the states have less power and can't be individuals. Because Democrats, they don't really like individuals. For a very long time, the Democratic Party was the party of slaveholders in the South. A lot of them were Democrats, and the reason that they were Democrats is because they were like, okay, so everyone else except our part of the world hates this. We're going to go to the federal government, and we're going to make them just make slavery legal everywhere.
Okay.
And they try to hold that down. Republicans were like, no, you have to give these people rights. They have rights. You can't do that, South. And the South was like, fuck you. And then the Civil War happened. But then people take it a step further, and there's this idea called being a libertarian. Now, you might hear that term.
Yeah,
thrown around
liberals are always made fun of.
No.
one likes the
Liberals are their own thing, but libertarians are kind of a step above Republicans, kind of like a little like footnote in them. They don't make up too much people, but the belief is that the federal government has like very little power.
Okay.
Like very small. Like they can declare war and they can raise an army, which is essentially all the federal government really needs to do.
That's a bit of power, right?
That's well. You have to understand in grand scheme.
Could you imagine?
No.
If you imagine if I could just snap my fingers and raise an army, Britain would be gone by now.
Well,
Ted. You know that Britain. If I had the power that the federal government had, and I could just raise an army, Britain would be mine.
Yep, exactly like that. But they believe the federal government should just have the power to like protect the people, which is its own kind of argument in and of itself of like what the government should do. Yeah. Some people literally just believe, the government should protect me, and that's it. The government shouldn't provide taxes. It shouldn't tax me. It should just be able to raise an army and protect me. Which, to be fair enough, that's what at bare bones, that's what it needs.
Yeah.
But with that said, the libertarians believe that like, oh, I will have like my own I have like full complete capacity to do whatever I want. I can have my big ass fucking weed farm on my automatic AR-15, live on my big ass ranch, and it kind of glorifies the whole thing. But
so they're real American.
They're real independent. I don't want no one else fucking helping me. I want to be my own fucking guy.
I kind of dig it to an extent.
It's a very extremist idea.
Not the extremist part of it, but I do like the whole very you get your independence kind of thing. No one really gets to tell you.
But you have to understand with that, there's no policing.
Yeah, I get
there's
that.
no public schools.
There does need
there's
to be
hardly
a
any taxes.
level of security.
There's no one maintaining infrastructure. All the roads are dirt.
Yep.
It's a very ideally, it's kind of a delusion amongst Americans, but I kind of see the point of it too.
It's a delusion. I can see it's definitely delusional to think we're gonna be totally that independent. There's none even in a million years would you ever get that.
That's why the libertarians hardly get 1% of the popular vote, and they never ever get a fucking seat in the House because it's. I think last time. I think last time actually between Joey and Donnie DJT, we did get 1%. We did get 1%. We all went fucking ape shit.
Donnie and DJT.
Sorry, Joe Biden and Donald J. Trump. Fuck, I fucked them up.
You gave them gangster names.
I gave them cool names.
No, you see, because libertarian and liberal are two different parties.
They're two different mindsets, but they oddly both enough kind of focus on the individual.
Okay.
If you know it.
They're more about independence.
They're more about the individual
So I think that's where it's gonna catch up to me, where it's gonna be hard to pick if I'm with the liberal side or not because of how I view independence. Because I do view it like that, but in a weird way. Not in the same way they do.
Well, yeah, there's libertarians and you know the difference between a fascist and a communist?
I know.
Fascism has a god. That's about it.
Okay.
That's about it.
Okay,
Their main goals are.
So now we gotta get to the bare bones. So okay, start asking me political questions, Ted.
All right. Pro-choice or pro-life?
Oh fuck.
Pro-choice, pro-life. There's issues. There's
okay.
Issues you can always change.
Look. I think that I don't like killing anything. Okay, so personally,
killing things is bad.
I understand why they would like the choice, and I understand wholeheartedly why it should be theirs, and why they deserve it, and everything like that. I do. I really do. However, I don't think an abortion should be allowed if the mother, if they can prove that it won't kill her or cause her permanent harm, or if it was a rape victim or something like that, then I think it should be go ahead and do it. But if the woman's gonna be completely healthy afterwards and she can have the baby, she just doesn't want it, I think that they should have it.
See,
but I know why, and there's another thing, because the medical science I don't think has gotten to the point where you can actually tell 100% if the woman is going to be okay after the pregnancy or not. You can't fully tell that, and I get that. And again, that's what I'm saying. I understand and all that. So maybe wait till after we get to that point. and still give women the choice, because I do understand why they want it and they do deserve the choice. I can't fathom the fact of killing
the morals.
a baby.
The morals of it is a very, very sticky thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I understand I understand both sides. I don't.
The perception of it. It's really kind of like more so the perception of your world. Of, do I think people are going to use and abuse this as they do with many other government systems?
Yeah.
Or are they going to actually use this for what it is used for?
Yeah.
And that kind of goes to your opinion of like people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very big moral and ethical debate, but I'm kind of with you. A lot of people are in this mid-ground of like, we don't want, exactly that. We don't want to kill babies.
A lot of people
but we see.
Here's a problem when it comes to certain aspects of things like this, and this is why I feel like it's useless to get into politics, because I think I told you this before.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I think wholeheartedly, a government doesn't work is there's too many differentiating opinions. Too many people have too many different ways of thinking about certain things, and this is why. Because you have these people over here on pro-life and people over here on pro-choice. Neither one of them will ever take the time out to learn why the other side is feeling the way that they do.
They never will.
No one will ever do that. I like to sit in the middle of things. I understand why they want the choice. Women deserve the choice if they don't want to have a child, if it was a mistake, and stuff like that, because certain times, if you are a mistake and you grow up, you're neglected, and certain stuff like that.
And it'll be bad.
And for some people it is. So sometimes it is better for a kid. But again, you don't know that, and there's so much speculation about it. But the women do deserve the choice, and they want that, because they might not even get the abortion. They just want the choice. They still want the freedom.
They have it there.
Because it did take them a while to get even the freedom to vote back in the day. So they don't want freedoms to be taken away from them. But on the other hand, like I said, on the pro-life thing, you're killing babies, and babies are precious things because you don't know what they're gonna grow up to be.
Well, you have to understand
they're killing babies.
It's a very like dubious middle ground that a lot of people, and that's kind of interesting, because the government only works because there are so many conflicting opinions. So when you really get all that honed in on one thing, and that's the thing with like pro-life or pro-choice, is there isn't this mid-ground of like, okay, I want women who get raped or medically will like die if they have the kid to get an abortion, but conservatives won't see it like that. And liberals won't hear that, like, oh, I don't just want some random girl, fucking like getting her card fucking stamped every time she gets an abortion. 10th one's fucking free. Like, I don't want to pay for that. I don't want to pay for that. Like, oh my god, that's just abusing the system.
It's like, oh yeah, it's on one hand it's their freedom, they just deserve it. But yeah, you don't want to hear you're killing some fucking kids.
I don't want
kid could grow up to cure cancer or something. But
that kid, yeah.
Again, now I just make jokes about it, but that's the
reality of it. That's the reality. That's why it's funny. It's because that's the truth of the matter, is that people will go and abuse the fuck out of the system.
They will.
That's that's the biggest criticism of welfare, is that a lot of people criticize.
That's the hardest part about certain things like that, is you hope that everyone tells them to make this decision, right? This is why you also I do feel this is gonna take away everything I've ever said. I do feel bad for the government a little bit.
Because they have to deal with it. They have to...
they deserve to deal with it.
Oh, yeah,
they chose this. They chose
this
job. It's their job to deal with it. But think about like YouTube drama or stuff like that. Like, where hold on, I gotta remember my point.
I gotta
remember. Wait, hold on, what were we talking about?
Oh, pro-life and pro-choice.
No.
Pro-life, pro-choice, and the government.
I do feel bad for the government a little bit, because they will make a decision eventually that helps one side. And then that other side will constantly hound them, whatever, and then that one side will be right, and they'll start seeing people abuse. Because no doubt, anytime a decision like this is made, anytime something like this happens, some party will always find a way to abuse it.
If
somebody always will.
If all men were angels, we wouldn't need government. Yeah. Thomas Jefferson.
Exactly.
Yeah,
someone would find a way to abuse it. So then they would start seeing that, and then they would be like, yeah, you see, we fucking told you, blah blah blah, this, that, and the third,
we were
blah
right,
blah blah.
We were right,
so
we were
no matter what, you can never win, and it's this constant back and forth.
We'll
feel bad to an extent they have to deal with it because no matter what decision they make,
they're gonna get hit. They're gonna get
however,
dick for it.
They do usually make decisions selfishly based on themselves.
Well, the thing is with that is even like that. There is like, okay, should it be a state choice or a federal choice? And this is where you'll see Democrats going for the federal government again because they want abortion to be legal everywhere. Everywhere. Everyone has to be fine with it. This, that, and the third. We have decided for you.
Again, I think
these few people, and then there's the debate of federal and state.
If you're talking about pro-life or pro-choice as a state debate, I think that's true. I think it should just be a state thing.
It should be a state thing.
I think it should just be up to the state. I think because, like I said, certain states.
I like the idea of it more.
Certain states might, everyone acts differently. There's different cultures in each state. Just like culture isn't just a religious thing and like a different skin color thing or whatever.
It is where you are geographically. Yeah.
There's different like New Orleans in itself is a culture, and stuff like that.
It's intriguing.
So if you're talking about that, I think it should be a state thing.
These people with the conservative values in the South, they don't want to see an abortion clinic when they go into town. They just want to watch Hulk Hogan on WWE and fucking drink beer all day. Right. And for people in urban cities, maybe they're fine with that because 4 of their friends were a fucking accident. Yeah. They just want to, they want to, hey.
Okay, so so fine. For pro-life, pro-choice, I want to say I'm more, as of right now, I think I'm pro-choice.
Well, do you think it's a federal or state thing?
Well, as of right now, I think I'm more on the pro-choice side because we don't have the medical knowledge necessary to determine if they're going to be healthy or not afterwards. But in that aspect, I think it's a state thing. State thing, pro-life, pro-choice.
See,
all right, what does that mean, Ted?
What does that mean?
What does that
you're
mean?
Pro-choice?
That I'm lean into the pro-choice side.
If you lean into the pro-choice
with the state.
Well, you're more you are a Republican with more liberal values. Just
all right, well we got that. We can't just base it off there. We gotta keep going.
All right,
next question. We were talking about abortion too long.
Fucking what else was the other fucking party politics of the fucking day? I like that dog. That dog is very cute.
I think she heard me yell that word. Oh, fuck. All right, what? Yeah, another big one that's going on right now.
Another big one that's going on.
Come on.
Do you think Americans should? What do you think about the Second Amendment?
The right to bear arms.
The right to bear arms.
I like guns.
Okay. How much do you like guns?
I don't own any, but I do think people should, and I would like to own one.
Do you think?
I think guns are a good way to protect yourself, and I think that not everybody should own one, and I think there should be a lot of background checks and stuff, and I don't think they should be just giving ARs out to anyone, because I know that was a big thing. Yeah, I know they do a background check, but there's ways to get around it and stuff like that. I know it's harder to get a handgun than an AR.
Yeah.
I don't think that's right at all.
No,
I think that's what the fuck. Excuse me, like I can go in and it takes me years to get a Glock, but I can walk into like a pawn shop and buy an M16 and what the fuck? No.
It's fucking crazy.
No, but I do think people should own guns if they are qualified. But again, then you have that whole you have the whole speculation thing of you don't know when someone's mind's gonna break. You don't know how.
Well, not even that.
Underlying issues will go.
You don't know if they're gonna keep it up for their kids or like someone
exactly.
could grab it.
You don't know any of that. But again, I think when it comes down to that, that's on them. Like if someone leaves their gun around and their kid finds it and their kid dies, it's upsetting to say, but that's kind of on you, buddy.
That's kind of on you.
That's kind of on you. Like you just leaving a gun around, you got kids. Don't be a fucking idiot. Like that's just fucking stupid.
It is. It's dumb.
It's dumb.
But then again, this kind of plays into the like whole geography of like the politics. Like people in the South. They will sell guns out of the back of their trucks. My dad has said, like in Texas and like in the South. This is where I
don't agree with the Second Amendment.
They'll sell guns out their trucks. In New York City, it'll be exactly like that. It'll be easier getting an AR-15 than a handgun, because a handgun, you can sneak that shit into anywhere and start popping off. AR-15, gotta slip in your whole pants. But with that, Alaskans actually need them to defend themselves against wolves, wildlife, and shit that could actually, attack them.
I mean, if you look at Britain, but if you look at Britain though, right?
And then there's also the culture of guns.
Yeah, like you said, down in the South in Texas, they're definitely going to keep their guns, all of their guns.
Mm-hmm.
But they have like those modded ones and shit that are illegal.
They do. Yeah, they have the ones that are illegal as fuck. Yeah.
And no, not at all.
But then,
I think. I don't think people should own stuff like that. I don't think it should be selling on the back of the trucks. I think everyone who sells a gun should have like a registered license or something to be able to sell one. and stuff like that. And if you're going to one, you should make sure that they also are fully capable of having the owner gun. And like I said,
They have a license, yeah.
And if they leave it around and their kid dies, it's
that's why the states get to deal with that, because it's a really personal thing.
I do think that that's a state thing.
Now it gets a little bit muddy when someone goes from Maryland to Texas, buys an M16, goes back to Maryland driving, and sprays up the whole place.
Yeah,
because that kind of fucks it all up.
Too,
that fucks it all up.
Yeah, I know state lines and stuff get fucky.
Get fucky all the time.
That's gotta stop too.
Mm-hmm. But then, if you outlaw guns, only outlaws will have guns, and then the people who actually need them won't have them. And
yeah, but like I said, like if you look at Britain, they outlawed guns, and they don't really have a lot of gun crimes, right?
They have knife crimes.
Yeah. Okay.
Stabbings go up very much so considerably.
Okay, but
with that said, less people are getting shot, and you can survive a knife better than a fucking gun.
I did watch Wellington Paranormal, even though it does take place in New Zealand. They had the same rules.
They have the same English. Yeah.
So they have guns. Like they just have them locked up. Like they have M16s in an armory.
Well,
they do have guns. They have all of them.
Well, the interesting thing about like Britain and shit, and like English gun culture as a whole, is after James the First. Which is why like Jamestown, the colony of Jamestown. That's why it's named Jamestown. It's a fucking town in Virginia my mom went to. Got me a snow globe and everything. He had a revolution against him by the Scots, and so he banned.
Who put a Scots outside?
So he was like, okay, no Scotsman can own a sword or a gun, and no one can have them in England. However, in America, because we don't want to mobilize the army like Spain does, whenever there's like animals to hunt, we're just going to give you guys guns and fight the frontier yourselves. And they gave us that autonomy and independence. And this is kind of where like the ideal of the Americas really starts, of like, we want to be independent, we want to be free. It's a very interesting thing, because after that they were like, okay, we're not giving any more of our colonies guns. We're gonna fucking make sure we know everything that's going on.
Yeah, no, they fucked up. They fucked up bad.
They let the fucking cat out the fucking bag on that one. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they fucked up though.
They did. They fucking did.
I'm glad they fucked up. Now fucking American brain, motherfucker.
Now we have all these guns around. We have all these guns around.
American.
Oh yeah, imperial system, driving on the right side of the road. Oh fuck yeah.
I'm fucking so glad, dude. I would hate to be British. I'm sorry. I hate British people.
British people are pretty bad.
They talk funny.
British
but no,
okay,
bad. We gotta get yeah. I think, but I don't think we should ban guns. I think people should own guns if they are
capable.
Yeah, capable of that shit.
They are capable. That's a good way to put it. Do you hate Russia or China?
I don't really hate either of them.
Oh, okay.
I don't really think they. I mean, I know they be doing their bad stuff, but they don't be messing with us, right?
I mean, indirectly, yes.
Okay, yeah, 'cause I know Russia, the whole Ukraine thing.
And China with like inflating the economy, just like fucking up American business.
They do be fucking with us.
They be fucking with us inadvertently, like indirectly. They are fucking with us, and Republicans hate China and Democrats hate Russia.
Wait, ain't China the motherfuckers that keep banning shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
They also don't uphold to like patents, which is why there's like a bunch of like Chinese iPhones and shit, and why they're like they don't give a fuck.
That's why when I order from Wish.com, I can get a sweatshirt for like $2.
Literally, yep. Mm-hmm. And they don't uphold that standard.
It's also
in the world.
made out of cheap fabric. No, yeah, fuck China.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, screw China.
All right.
Well, not screw China. Like they're cool. They shouldn't do that.
They shouldn't do that.
I don't like fuck China.
I don't like the government for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck China.
So do you think a group of like 5 elite people should rule the government, like decide all the decisions for everyone? They're not elected or anything. They just got into these positions.
They're not elected? They
aren't elected or anything. It's just 6 people run the whole thing.
No, they should definitely be elected.
All right, then you also hate oligarchies, which is just a monarchy but with like 6 or 5 people. So there you go.
No, they should definitely be elected. Any of them should be elected.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you believe in democracy?
Yeah. I like democracy.
Okay. That's good.
I do like the freedom aspect and stuff. I think everybody should be an individual and they should like freedom and everything like that. So yeah, I'm a very big democracy guy.
All right. It's good.
I don't think we have it.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck
I
yeah.
must
Yeah,
say,
no.
I like to believe in it. I don't think it's there. I think that's a big lie.
Mm-hmm. There you
But yeah, go on.
go. All right. That's it's just a very like key thing because some people are just like no, people shouldn't have the choice. Because they just find them ignorant, they find them dumb, and that's a pretty fair argument to believe about like
choices.
80% of people. Yeah, some people, yeah, is that too. Like some people are just like, oh, don't give them the fucking choice. They're just dumb. They're just gonna waste their time. Why even give them freedom if they're just gonna fuck it all up? You know? And for like the benefit of like the whole, you know, for like a communist, that's like okay. You know, you gotta like help everyone out, and it develops that mob mentality of like a hive mind.
Technically, communism isn't actually what everybody thinks communism
Yeah,
is.
because they always fuck it up and make it a dictatorship.
The ideals of communism actually have good intentions.
On paper, it is a wonderful system.
Yeah, the guy that wrote that book,
Karl Marx.
No, the other book, the Communist Manifesto. Wait,
Karl Marx. Karl Marx.
Boy, okay.
And the other guy who was in a beard growing contest with him. Yes.
Wait, so Karl Marx was a good dude?
Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto, and from there you can kind of decide he had good intentions. It's literally the most classic story of he had good intentions,
bad execution,
atrocious fucking execution. Oh my god!
Yeah, like, but if he wrote the book, he didn't make
do
the
people
what they did.
No, but he used his ideas were hijacked and used to the extremest.
So, but he's not the bad guy. But why does everybody say he's the bad guy?
Because he wrote them down. He gave them.
But
he
that's
gave
not,
them.
What?
Do you blame? It's kind of the whole argument. It's kind of like the whole argument of like I made you a gun and you used it to kill someone, so now you're blaming me for making the gun, even though like that wasn't my intention. I was just giving you a gun.
That makes sense.
It's really fucking dumb.
So Karl Marx isn't that bad of a guy then?
No. Okay. He intended the system he like wrote down and he intended was what you said. It was a very like great system on paper.
That was Charles Darwin that had the bad evolution thing.
Oh no. Well, evolution is actually true.
No, I know, but Charles Darwin had the weird one.
Oh, of what naturalism that only the fit should survive?
Yeah.
Well, that's just true.
No.
Well, even though I think he was a product of like incest and like fucked his like cousin, and he had like hella STDs.
No, it's not true. Wait, hold on.
Only the fit survive. In nature, that is how it is.
No, wait, that is the good one, right?
Yes.
Darwinism was bad.
In what sense?
Everyone makes fun of it.
It's a very primitive way of thinking because it's literally how like animals act in the wild. So if you apply that to people who are far more developed than common animals in the wild.
So you're saying that
I'm saying that's how it is.
Anyone that's disabled or something like that is...
No, because we are modern fucking people. We don't believe that. We do not believe that they are not fit to live. That's a sick-ass ideology.
Why are you defending Darwinism?
Well, I'm saying that, like, in the wild, with, like, bears, lions, and tigers, like, yes, that's the case. Like, an African, like in the Galapagos and shit, like people, like animals will evolve like that. That is how animals will evolve.
I know.
We are more than animals as people. We may be qualified and classified as animals, but in our
so
our society,
talking about in nature.
In nature, yes, out in the fucking wild.
But in human civilization, who was the other guy during evolution times?
The church. The church saying, oh yeah, no, all that's bullshit. God put you here for a reason.
More political questions.
Okay. Alright, let me think. Alright. Hey. Oh! What the fuck, man? Do you, where do you think the money should go? What do you think, like...
What does that mean?
Like, okay, so the U.S. Congress spends the majority of its budget on the military. How would you divide it? Like, what would you want the United States to spend more on than the military, or you can keep it just as it is, you know? But what would you like the U.S. is like as a government's like focus is to be?
Oh boy, this is gonna be a tough one because I literally have no fucking clue.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you.
Give me something. So we spend. I gotta start asking my questions.
Go on, yeah. Ask all
We
you
spend money on the military, right?
Majority of our funding goes to the military. A good like 80%.
Goes to the military.
Like I think 7 trillion or some shit.
What in recent years has our military really been up to?
Not that much.
Exactly.
But because of the military-industrial complex, anyone who ever tries to say let's defund the military instantly gets shot down, and they cannot run for politics at fucking all. Because the military-industrial complex will shut you fucking down.
The military runs. I never got that.
Yeah.
Why does the military like run everything?
So
when they're not really doing much right now.
So you have to understand that although America is cloaked under the democratic veil, under like the 13 points of fascism, it is fascist. We do every single thing a fascist country does. Like if you look up the 13 points, majority of our funding towards the army. We believe in a nationalistic idea.
I heard that word.
And
fascist.
it's very like dangerously similar, but we still have that like democratic, like we are good people in our hearts. You know, we don't really believe.
In our hearts.
In
our hearts, we're good.
Where do you get this idea that Americans think they're better than everyone, dude? That's fucking insane. What do you mean America's the best? I've never heard that before. What do you mean?
We're so humble.
Mm-hmm.
We've won every war.
We've only ever won every single world war and shown you guys who's the fucking boss twice, as well as having the most aircraft carriers. Yep. It's not like we can kill you all in a fucking second. Like, come on, guys, we're being humble.
I mean,
yes,
maybe we can.
Yes,
maybe that's why we're spending so much money.
Well, that's the other thing is that after like World War I and World War II, America got into this idea of we have to defend the world. We can no longer be by ourselves. We have to help everyone. We will be the world police. And so Britain was like, all right, son, you can fucking take all of our shit. We're not dealing with that anymore. We got to deal with this EU stuff. And we started helping out Vietnam, Desert Storm, Iraqi Freedom, all these places we really didn't fucking need to go or really have a reason to go to, but we just went because we're like, we have to help people.
We're spending all this money on the military. We might as well use it.
And they just kept going because World War II, the money from the military brought us out the Great Depression. And from there, the military-industrial complex was built. And then Vietnam, the Korean War. And we just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. To this day, we're still trying to push. But the problem is that we are enlightened and we've won too much. There's no more enemies to fight.
We're cookie.
There's no more to fight.
We got big brain.
And instead of putting the sword down and just focusing on ourselves like we fucking should, we are fucking tunnel vision to this idea of there's more to fight. We must
we got to prepare for the next fight.
All right, guys.
Dude, this is literally what the new God of War game's about.
70 to 80 years ago, we were fighting Germans in tanks. We are now fighting men in Toyota trucks with 50 cals. Where the fuck did we lose it?
Dude.
Where did we lose it? This is a multi-billion-dollar organization. Military-industrial complex.
God of War Ragnarok is literally about an old warmonger trying to find peace because he realized that war doesn't get you anywhere.
It doesn't. It fucking
and if he focuses on himself and his kid and trying to make them better people, and he does it, but eventually he has to go to war, but he only does it because he's forced to.
He has to.
Like it's only because he only goes back to the old ways because he actually people are pressuring him into it, not because he's going after or he's ready for it. He's training and he is getting ready, but he's not so focused on like trying to get to it. And everything, so the whole thing with the war, I don't think we should be spending so much right now, but if a war does come, I mean, shit.
Kick it up, yeah.
Back in World War I, we started transforming car factories into tank factories. And wait, that was World War I, right? Was that World War II?
Dude, well, okay, so another power of the presidency is he has the right to seize businesses, so he can just do that.
No, I know, but which one was it? Which war did we do that? Because I want to make sure I'm right. I'm not an idiot. Was it World War I?
It was both. It was both.
I know.
It was fucking both.
But so we did it to World War. So yeah, everyone changed, and everyone started. Everyone started taking their little soup cans and putting them in the middle of the street to be sent off and everything. So need be, if the world needs, I've said this
it's one of the powers
times.
Of the presidency. It's one of the powers of the presidency.
Fuck the presidency.
Fuck the presidency. Yeah, keep going.
if the people of America are needed, I have said this numerous times. I don't care. Well, maybe not nowadays. It might be a little harder, and it might be a little because
difficult.
Yeah, because of social media and stuff like that.
But
if people are needed to help their country do something, God damn it, if Americans won't get the fuck up and do it. Like I said, back in world, these little kids be pushing their little wheelbarrows of metal to the things so they can ship the metal off to the factory, that they can melt it down and make tank parts. If need be, America will work together to get that, except the people that don't want the war, but we will work together to get that fucking war to be won. We've done it every other war. We've always came together and we always came out. We were like the underdogs at one point, and we came out on top. People came to us for help in other wars because of how good our record was, bruh. W's all day, except for Vietnam. That was L plus ratio.
No,
bruh.
Actually, that was a tie. We just kind of
that's just ratio. But, bro, we have always came out on top at the end of it because that's what we do, bro. We come together at the end, and the shit, like, that's the only time the CIA and the FBI do some good shit, because they're underground, do some secret mission type shit, whatever. Except that one time when they tried to do terrorist attacks against us, Operation Northwoods, not good. Fuck them for that one, but that don't matter because we come together as Americans.
The American spirit of saying fuck you to authority has always been a thing. It's always been it.
No, I didn't even say fuck your authority. That's what I said for the president. But I'm just saying, if need be,
Americans are people of action.
Yes, we are not at war right now, and that's probably why Americans are so lazy nowadays, and why we aren't at war right now. There's nothing big going on that we need to come together for.
There's no more destiny to manifest.
Every single tragedy in America, every single time, no matter what, people have always came together and done shit like that. And I think, without a doubt, or I have so much hope, that we don't need to be funding the military like that right now. We can take the money away and put it to the citizens. And like you said, what the fuck was that?
Nothing. You're just tweaking.
All right, nice. We can fund. We can do what you said and make it so that way our citizens live a better life. And
focus on ourselves. Focus
so that
on
way, when the war
affairs.
does come, we're more ready to get up and help you out, because you were helping us out, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So yes, I don't think we need to fund them all that right now, because we're not currently at war, or we're not currently probably not going to war.
So what do you think it should go to?
I think we should be giving that shit to the citizens. And
how so?
I don't see. Now that's where
that's where the tricky part of it all
because people do abuse
in.
that shit like welfare.
Well,
I think a stimulus check, that was good. Everyone loved that. Yeah, that fucking helped. I think you could help a lot more with like homeless shelters and like poverty stuff.
Social programs.
I do think we need to be more funding into those programs that look into the people that actually deserve it, because we need more people that don't deserve it not have it. And people that do have it, so stuff like that. Social Security stuff, I know, not Social Security, the funds or whatever. I know people said that like they're gonna be cut off.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that Social Security is running out.
Yep. Because of that, so I think we should put more into that. Take care of your citizens, do stuff like that, and then when war comes, we're more willing to help you out and help you take care of the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we believe it, it's the enemy.
It's very. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot sometimes. And as Americans, we try. And, oftentimes we do. And it's great. But at the time, like now, we are in one of like the most, like we are in the information age. Yeah. We know everything. There's no more going west to see what is out there. We know what's out there. The whole world is explored. Everything is on the table. And everyone like knows like what's good to go on. Otto von Bismarck described the next era, the next century, with the words famously that it will be the century will be described with blood and iron. And he said this in the 1870s. And then the next two world wars happened after that, which was a lot of blood and iron.
Because here's the thing, once you ain't got nowhere to go, all you got to do is argue and fight.
There's no one left
Literally,
to fight.
I think the government is just a big group of friends, because what do friends do when they don't have anything to do? They just start arguing for no reason. They just fucking with each other and make each other pissed off. Because there's just nothing else to fucking do.
There's no longer an enemy.
People do it. Oh yeah, people do this shit all the time. You don't have an enemy, so you try and make one. I think literally that's what government people do. They're just like, man, there's fucking nothing's going on right now. Like,
God, we gotta start
everyone's-
something. We gotta start
everyone's
something.
happy.
Bro. Yeah.
Everyone's wealthy. Everything's going good. Let's cause some fucking chaos.
We gotta start some
Let's
shit.
just start some shit.
Literally.
All the money that we have over here, just give it to the fucking military. Why? I don't know. Make weapons or something, but
Utopia.
we don't need them. You know, we might later. Like, you know, what the fuck?
I think we should just be isolationists again. Stay to our own.
Yeah, because like I say, once you find everything, nothing to do except argue. That's literally what people do. What they do. People literally argue and fight just because they're bored sometimes.
Just because they want a conversation.
They just
really.
want to talk. So they literally make up shit. They're just like, yeah, let's just fucking talk.
There's no one left to fight. There's no more battles to be won. There is only peace now. And people don't like how settling it is. People don't like how...
No, I mean, I'm not gonna
People
lie.
find it uncomfortable. People
Yeah, me too. I do find that uncomfortable.
People see all this peace and they think, who's going to start something? Something's going to happen. Something will happen. And it gets that paranoia in them. Because when you can't see a threat, when you can't put all your paranoias and hatred and anxiety into one fucking thing, where do they go?
I hate, bro.
Where does it go? You don't have anywhere to centralize that. You don't have anywhere to put
so you
that
start
to.
getting so paranoid,
And then you
you're
get
the one that
paranoid.
caused something.
Mm-hmm. And that's a troubling thing.
Yep, and that's every single one of our people in the government, bros.
That's all people in all governments, really.
Yeah.
They always fear that. What is the problem
Alright.
I'm not seeing?
Next political question.
What are your thoughts on interest groups?
What the fuck is an interest group?
So an interest group can be anything from farmers' rights to the civil rights movement.
The fuck is
These
that?
are groups of people. So like the LGBTQ plus is like an interest group for LGBTQ rights. That's like an interest group. That's the people that have the common interest of we support gay people or we are gay people. And then there's people who are like, oh, we all like guns. We are an interest group about guns. And that's where like the NRA comes in.
Oh, you mean like military group?
Well, no, not even like military groups. It can also just be like, oh, we all like public transportation.
Oh, I don't like the
We like to-
NRA because of what they did, that wacko.
Oh, yeah. I fully understand that. I'm just using them as like an example
Wait,
of like
that
an
was
interest
the
group.
NRA, right?
The National Rifle Association?
Yeah, they were at the Waco standoff.
I think so or something.
I don't think
really
that
keep
guy
up with
did
that.
nothing wrong. I mean,
He
I
was
think
just defending,
the kids
kid.
were abused a little bit.
I don't.
But
fucking
I don't think
follow.
I think he genuinely did. Of course, I mean, I watched the Wendigoon video, and my opinion has always come from other people's. But I think he genuinely liked what he believed what he was talking about, and I think he loved his people, and I think they fucked up a bit. I think it was their fault. I think it was the NRA's fault, or whatever people was there. I think it was their fault that that the people died, and I don't think they deserve that. So.
It's, but with like interest groups, you know, there
Well,
could
then
be.
okay, some of them are good then because the LGBT thing is a good
Well, the
one,
thing,
and,
thing I'm trying to get with you is that it's all about scale. Like for instance, like there are interest groups that want to help the Cecil County Bay. You know, they want to clean the bay, you know, all that shit.
yeah,
And that is described as an interest group for like the bay. You know, it's kind of like you can put it like the broader sense of like an environmental interest group, but specifically it's trying to help out the Chesapeake Bay. And with all these interest groups, James Madison had the idea of that no one person, no one idea will dominate this democracy. People will have so many varying opinions and thoughts on these things that no one group is going to rise above them all and just like dominate everyone. Like no one idea, no one interest is going to be so like universal that it will like fucking like destroy, like it will rise above all other ideas. That can never happen. And when it does usually happen, or an idea as like that volatile rises, it's usually things that are very like conflicting in the society. Like civil rights is a very big, like civil rights interest groups didn't exist after the civil rights because they got the job done. You know, all these people came together for the idea of we want black people to have the right to vote.
Yeah.
And there was conflicting interest groups to counter that, but it was a very big interest group of civil rights. People, a lot, like black people all over America were like rallying behind this idea of civil rights. They were a part of that interest group. And it got to the point where the government was like, okay, there's this very big idea, this very big, like, two interest groups fighting over these two things. And you see it all the time with the government as well. And usually Democrats or Republicans will pick a side because they fucking have to. And, you know, like for interest groups for like big business, Republicans will always favor them. And like smaller businesses, Democrats will always favor them because they like smaller business, Republicans like big business. You know, it's all about their personal functions. But those interest groups are like where they get their politics from, they get their voters from. Like a lot of members of the NRA who are in that interest group are also Republicans. Some of them are Democrats. There's probably a small, minute, you know, a small bit of them are Democrats, but the majority of them are Republicans. And that's kind of like, you know, where the whole like organization thing comes in.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting thing. But do you like interest groups? You like
I think
what they do?
I think some of them can be good. I don't like the NRA, like I said, because of what they did at the thing. Some of them seem to be bad. But no, I think they have potential to do great things.
Unions as well are also like
it's
quasi interest groups. Yeah, so there's like both sides of the spectrum of it. Cool.
But no, yeah, I think they have a lot of potential, sir.
That's good.
See, I don't have a lot to say about them because I don't really understand the whole concept of it. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, what, an interest group?
Yeah, I don't really get the whole thing about it. Like, I think that I don't really know much about the whole thing, so I don't have much to say about the interest groups. But
I mean, interest groups are kind of just like a broader idea.
Next political question. Are you looking it up on Google?
Okay.
Ted, you kind of. I mean,
most of them are gay, so I'm not.
I mean,
going
you
to.
could. That's that. No, come on. Let's start doing the funny ones now.
Oh, the funny ones now.
What are you looking at? Did you see like a squirrel or something?
Did
you see like a squirrel or something? Or...
No, sometimes I just be spacing out.
Or you look like Shaggy right now.
Really? All right.
Come on.
What life experiences have you had that have led you to feel so passionately about an issue? Like what's something that you're just like, I feel this way about it because of something like that?
Okay. I really hate this certain government organization.
Is it the CIA?
I'm not naming any names.
Okay.
They killed, allegedly.
Plotted.
No.
And committed.
So there's his president. I don't know if you know him. His name's John F. Kennedy.
Yeah, I think he was a Catholic or something.
Yeah. So he died. He got assassinated by this guy, Lee Harvey Oswald. And a certain government organization somewhat should have is involved allegedly, and there's a lot of proof to back it up. Honestly, and they definitely totally did.
See,
there's so much evidence, but we're not. It's all alleged.
It's all there. It's all. Allegedly.
They also assassinated with the help of another government organization. Just so and some allegedly the police department. There's this other guy, Martin Luther King.
Don't forget Malcolm X.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen that one yet, but no, yeah. So, yeah. After I saw those, it sent me on this whole spiel of looking into government stuff and what they did. Then I found out about Operation Northwoods, and then MK Ultra, and then many other things. And those are probably, I know those are basic things I could have said, but I know a lot. I just can't remember them all right now. But there's the whole WikiLeaks guy. Oh, I looked into WikiLeaks. That was insane of stuff that they showed. The whole Bay of Pigs stuff. All the stuff that happened with all that. Like, you know, now there's just this big mistrust of the government.
Well, really the mistrust. So, For the longest time, there were such a thing as spies. Like you've probably heard, like back in like the medieval era.
Yeah,
There were spies, there were espionage. But really, around like the 1950s and like World War II was when like spying took off, because getting the intelligence from like one area to another can cost you a whole battle.
There's literally this dude,
and it got a lot more advanced.
In World War II.
Mm-hmm.
He literally won World War II, and I'm tired of people saying he didn't.
What?
I forgot his name.
Go on.
But he was a radio operator, and he literally trolled the Germans for the whole war, simply because he could.
Yeah.
That's not true. He lived in a fascist country, or whatever, and his family was attacked, and some people died, and he was like, I'm fucking tired of this bullshit. I don't want to do this anymore. So he did a bunch of, I can't remember this part of his story, but he did a bunch of shit, and he trolled them, and he stopped a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
But then he started hearing about Germany, and he was like, I don't like you, because you're just like the people that attacked my village before. So I'm going to stop you, or I'm going to do everything I can to try to stop you. So then he goes to the British intelligence. This is before America gets into the war. He goes to them, and he's like, hey, I want to help you spy on these people. And they're like, no, no, get the fuck out. And he then just does it himself.
Yeah.
He makes up his own name. He starts talking to people. He acts like he's a high, a high up in like the British
military, the Admiralty.
No, in like the people that make the decisions. Like he's acting, he's like a
high member Parliament.
I remember the Parliament thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he acts like this. And he does it for like, I think it was 2 years. He literally does it for 2 years.
Fucking my God.
And they believe him. And they believe him so much to the point now in these 2 years that everything he said was looked at as absolute fact. Like they didn't even like question it.
They didn't check him, yeah.
So then America joins the war, and he's on all this evidence and stuff. So he goes back and he's like, hey, I've been spying on the Germans for like years now. And they're like, dude, why didn't you fucking get this? Why did you not let this guy join? Because obviously they didn't know what he was capable of. But then they get him all in, and he starts doing a bunch of shit. Then he gets his own office. He gets his own network of spies that he has.
His own ring, yeah.
Yeah, his own shit. And he just starts going around, and then everything. It got to the point where everything he said was sent straight to Hitler, like himself. It got so he was so good at this that he earned their Medal of Valor, Germany's Medal of Valor.
Wait, hold on.
The Red Cross. He earned that, and he also earned America's one. No, not Britain's one. He earned Britain's
the
Medal
Victorian Cross.
The Victorian Cross and the Red Cross. He got both of them, making him the first and I think only person in the entire world to ever get both from two conflicting countries during the war. They sent it to him over the mail.
Who, the Germans?
Yes, they sent it to him, and it was they had to like they were
he was
like,
giving them intel or something.
They were like sneaking through the streets and stuff because they thought they were sneaking through, like they thought they were doing an undercover co-op mission. He had these German people sneaking through the streets of Britain and stuff like that. Where in reality, they dropped it off at a warehouse. The
MI5,
U.S. Yeah, they came, they picked it up, and they brought it over to him. They said, "Here's your medal." It's fucking fantastic.
Fuck, that's funny as hell. And he was working with the Allies?
Yes.
That's hard.
Yes.
That's funny.
And the reason that when I watched the video, the reason the guy said he won World War II is because during Normandy, he was a very key part in. So you know how they had a plan. Mm-hmm. The attack at Normandy was one half of the plan. The other half was to make half of the British army think they were going to attack from the other side of the beach by making a bunch of fake
decoys, making the decoys,
tanks,
making
like
the Germans believe the decoys. Yeah.
He was a key role in making them believe and stay.
Well, that was Operation Mincemeat, I believe. Yeah,
yes, but it was this dude was like the mastermind behind all of it. He was key into making them stay at that beach, even though one of the generals, a really high-ranking general in the German army, kept saying, "Yo, I think this is a scam. I think we're getting scammed, bro. There ain't nobody here. These tanks looking like rubber, you know." Actually, and the tanks, they got the idea from a magician. That's a fun fact. But so he was key in making them believe that Americans were coming and they were going to attack the beach at that very moment. therefore splitting up half the German forces so the Allies could push on Normandy. And if they never pushed on Normandy that day and they didn't win D-Day, we wouldn't have really won the war.
There was several factors with D-Day.
Yes, but look,
that was a very primarily big one.
this man it was one man in an office with a radio. Like,
this man was popping off. This man was popping
I wish I knew his
off.
name. I really wish I knew his name. But then he went into hiding after. Obviously, he went into hiding afterwards.
Well, yeah, all the Germans were gonna try to kill him.
And but actually, some of his transcripts to this day are still like in German historical places, and they're like looked at as like
fact,
absolute fact, and like this helped us win, this helped us during the war and stuff like that, because it was just so real to them and everything. Like
he was very persuasive.
Yeah, he would do like certain things, like he would give them certain information. He was really good.
That was right.
Yeah, he was really good at hiding what he was supposed to and giving them what he could.
He was good at
He was super good at it. Good dude.
And this like covert like ops was very popular amongst like Russia, Germany, America, Britain. America had two.
We still do.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that it kind of developed from there, and that started this whole idea of secrecy of the government, because usually spies are only needed in times of war. But then when the war is over and you still have all these spies on payroll in these foreign countries, it's like, okay, just keep on keeping tabs.
Yep.
And we'll just keep on like learning more and more about these people. And then this whole idea of like spying, counter spy, and like all this other crazy shit gets brought up, and the CIA and FBI as intelligence agencies are, involved. And it can really, fuck things up when, as a president, you want to be honest with your people, but these agencies are telling you, don't say that, don't do that. And they're trying to control what you're saying. That's why Kennedy had a big problem with them.
Yeah, Kennedy was willing to be really open with the people.
Mm-hmm.
That was before I think that was before the government got so corrupt to the point where the president was just a little pawn.
Well, yeah. But the other cool thing was, I remember these two Native Americans. I think they were like, I forget what tribe they were from, but it was one
Cherokee.
Was, yeah, Cherokee or Wamapoke or some shit. But one was in the States, and one was like on like route to Japan, like he was a soldier, and they would talk in their like native tongue of a fucking Choctaw or whatever. And it's one of like the hardest like languages to pick up linguistically because so few people speak it. So the Japanese could never decode it or figure it out. And it was just like one of like, it's just such a crazy ass story of like, oh my god, these guys, they were just talking in like their Native American jive, and fucking they won the war. They won the fucking war. There was this other guy, he was a part of the Normandy invasion. He became a war chief. He did like all the things, like he was like defeat an enemy.
Was he an American?
No, yeah, he was a Native American, church. Yeah, he literally was a Native American, and he did like all the things required to become a war chief. Like through his tribe, he was like kill an enemy he was like capture an enemy without using a weapon, and he like captured a German soldier. He like did every single thing, like lead your men to a victory charge. Yeah, everything that you need to do to become a war chief as like a Native American, and it was really fucking cool.
How did they?
How'd they know?
Yeah, how did they make sure they wasn't lying?
Church. Well, he did everything a war chief has to do, so I'd have to look up what everything a war chief has to do, but I know he did all of it during World War II.
No, but what I mean
and
is,
he like came back.
There's a word that would make this so much easier. Just can't.
Honesty.
Fuck no. How did they
prove it?
Yeah. Well, not prove, but
no, he was telling the truth.
Yeah, how they know he was telling the truth. That's what I mean. Like, he just came back and yeah, I captured the German guy. And
well, the thing is, when you capture a German, you usually have a German to show that you captured.
Oh, his tribe was with him?
No. The United States government was there. And
I know,
was like,
that's
oh,
what I
you
mean,
captured a prisoner of war. Okay.
But his tribe wasn't there, so they don't. That's what I mean.
Well, I think the U.S. government can vouch for him, saying,
did they? Is that what happened? That must have been what happened.
I mean, assuming the tribe didn't believe this Native American son just went through an entire war and comes back and claims he's war chief through all the things he did. Like, this is a very, like, it's not this Western idea of, oh, I'll just come back and fucking say it. These guys, this was their practice. This was their lifestyle. This was all they had left after we kicked them out of their fucking lands and gave them only sand. Like, this was all they had to cling on to. So it's very, like... He's not gonna lie about this shit.
I don't know. I would.
Well, you're not Native American, Church. You would.
Yes, I am.
What? You're Native American?
Cherokee Indian.
Can you,
Great grandfather was a leader of a tribe too, actually, sir.
Holy shit! But did he ever become a war chief?
Well, he was a leader of a tribe. I don't know what that means. He's a war chief.
Okay, then I guess that would mean he's a war chief if he's a leader.
His little thingy is hanging up in a museum somewhere, apparently. That's what I've been told my whole life.
His axe?
No, his
headdress?
little garb headdress thing.
Yeah.
But no, I can't believe this. So he did all that shit during World War II to become world. That'd be cool as shit.
It was.
He
all
must have been
things.
one. What's his name?
I don't fucking remember.
But
you can look him up. You can fucking look him up. It's a pretty like, oh, okay. He just did like every single thing. And there's just a bunch of cool little stories like that from World War II that you can just go on for days fucking about. But back to the
I'm waiting for Windigan's World War II video that he said he was making. Apparently
he's making a video about all of World War II.
That's what he said he was working on. And I think it's probably gonna be like 12 hours long.
Yeah, that's at least 20 plus, bro. Holy fuck! Oh my god.
I mean, I got the whole spy thing from one of his. I love his. I literally get all my shit from him. Anything he talks about, I know. What? Oh yeah, we went off on that because of those stupid questions.
Dumbass
What are you
questions.
passionate issue? And I just.
Fucking.
Next political question.
What are some of the keywords or phrases that unite us as Americans? What do you see as like, we'll rally behind this?
Terrorism.
Terrorism? Fight against terror?
Yeah.
What do you think people won't rally behind? What do you think
They
people
won't?
Like, what do you think people are like, I don't want to rally?
I think about this. I don't really know Americans. I try to stay away from them. I don't talk to many of them as possible. I'm blanking, bro. What about you, Ted? How about you? What do you think? What do you think? You've been asking me all these questions. I want to hear your opinion on this. What do you think? Certain things that Americans rally behind.
Oh, they rally behind freedom, and they really rally behind.
I was gonna say freedom too, but everybody. I was like,
This.
would they really rally behind freedom now? Because half the people don't.
Well, half the people are confused of what freedom is. You know, people. We are so informed, it like kicks us in our own ass. You know, we know too much. You know, and that kind of bogs down a lot of people, because it's like, oh, well, if I have freedom, it'll take someone else's freedom away, and it's like, no, that's not how it fucking works, and it's like all this other like contradictory, crazy shit that can really confuse people. You know, you have to take like a second to like look at it and be like, oh, that is freedom, like that is freedom, and it's hard because everyone has like their own ideas about freedom, you know, and it's. You know, conflicting opinions and conflicting ideologies. But what I always find funny is that, like the reasons why someone would vote vary. Like, some people are voting so their candidate gets in, and it's like, oh, he's going to change everything. He's going to make the world all fucking new. You know, fucking, I'm going to get bitches on my dick. And they think, like, all of this shit about a candidate. And then there's just simply the people who vote. Like, the only choice they have, like, the only, like, deciding factor for them between candidates is like, one will fix the roads, one will make the gas prices go down. That's it.
Okay.
And that's freedom.
Yeah.
That's two different versions of freedom that you
Americans
see expressed.
do rally behind gas.
They'll rally behind something that they will find, you know, but these two people still find the candidate, you know, that they vote for enjoyable, but just for different reasons and different like lengths of why they like them.
Yeah. And
that's cool. That's freedom to me. You know, freedom to express yourself and freedom to show how much you enjoy it, I guess, you know.
All right, now what do you think they wouldn't rally behind?
What do I think they wouldn't rally behind?
Yeah. They rally behind freedom.
Well, that's the thing, is that the freedom to hate others is also part of that. And people will rally behind that all the time. But fuck, I've also seen like 100 historical examples. Like, I remember there was this one group of like Puritans back in the day that were like, yes, we are so pure, we will not have sex. Like none at all. And it's like, okay, so they had this little colony out in the woods, but everyone got like fucking old and died. And they didn't have any kids because they didn't want to have sex. So it was just like, well, that's dumb. These guys all chose, all like guys and like women, like they live together, I guess. They all were like, yeah, no, we're not gonna fuck. I don't care if we're married. They probably did get married.
You know, some of them were breaking that rule.
No, none of them did, because none of them had fucking kids, and the whole colony died. It was like a group of people. I was like, oh my god, that's so fucking dumb. Why would anyone rally behind this? But like in the modern day, like people would rally behind anything back in the day. I'm a firm believer of that. But like in modern day, I think like people won't rally behind straight, like blunt ignorance. Like if I go outside and I say I hate like this group of people, and I just like say it like that, people aren't gonna be like, oh well, fucking I can't agree with that. No, no one's gonna fucking, like if I say like I hate all the Jews, no one's gonna be like, oh fucking I'm gonna support that guy. You have to be like, Jewish people have all of the CEO positions in high ranking, and then people are like, oh, I'll get on with it. I don't know, it's some fucking dumb shit. Because they think it's like something else, but it's really just...
Yeah.
It's cloaked. It's a cloak and veil. It's very dangerous. And that's the thing, is that like the Nazis, they perfected like brainwashing techniques and like how to like convince people and really like show like this is how you can like brainwash and like desensitize a population to something. And that's a very dangerous fucking thing to learn. And then Russia, America, Britain, France, all just gained that information because they raided Nazi bunkers, or they took fucking scientists who did these things and put them in positions in their own countries. And that's a very, very, very scary thought to think about.
Yeah, bro, that is weird. That's frightening. So, bro, I think I'm tweaking out. I keep hearing noises.
That's why I said, man, you want to go on a walk.
No. Scared of the dark.
Scared of the dark, but it's light. There's light everywhere.
I don't care.
Lordy Lou and Pellaloo.
You, Teddy.
Fuck you, Teddy. Oh my god. Oh no, I always hear Ted. I never hear Teddy from Church's mouth. Alright, we're gonna go down to question number 38. Would it be possible to test our ideas in practice and see which... Fuck that. No, that's dumb. What could be done to improve each of our ideas?
Well, what?
That one doesn't really go anywhere. Hold on. Oh yeah, fuck. This might just be conflict resolution. What the fuck? What fucking man? Let's just talk about what we think the government should do.
Okay, then what do you think the government should do?
So I think that like the federal government, I think its like responsibilities should be war and maintaining infrastructure. And what I mean by like that is like roads and like lights. Like I think they should just have those two things. Like everything else is like a state thing.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Like the federal government can wage war. They don't need money. We'll give them money for that.
Buddy. Are you pro-choice or pro-life?
Well, see, I like to put stock in people. See, I like to have faith in people, and that's kind of the sad thing about pro-life people, is that they're really like, they or at least from like my perspective, it's like I have faith that these women will use like safe sex, and they will go out there and they won't just have sex with a bunch of guys. No, wait. I guess that's the thing with like pro-choice people, is that they put a lot of stock in people. They're like, they're gonna go out and just get ran through by like 10 fucking dudes and get an abortion every week. It's like, damn, You're putting a lot of stock in women, buddy.
Wasn't it the term? You're putting the stock in people.
Like you believe in them.
That's hope.
Like you put stock.
Buddy, that's hope.
Yeah, you put stock in them. Hope.
I've never heard someone say it's
like
stock.
you invest in them. Like you invest in them emotionally. You put stock in them. You know, it's
I've never heard it before.
Here's a couple other terms you probably haven't heard. America has a monopoly on violence. In the United States, like if there are like a group of people like running around like shooting people, the United States government or the state government, then the county would be like, no, stop that, and they would put an end to it. They have a monopoly on violence. Only the United States government could mass execute people like that, you know.
I mean, well, yeah,
and that's kind of like every single government, like in their own area, in a way. Yeah,
if the government really wanted to, any government could fucking exercise execution.
Because they have the monopoly on violence. Now, this comes into play when fucking...
I don't like you. You're not a good state anymore.
I don't like
Come on!
Exactly. And America is the hemorrhagen. And what that means is they, like, have the most, like, violence. They have the most monopoly on violence. They can cause the most violence. They are the strongest causer of violence.
So I said, bro, if they do come into America and they break through our walls and shit, they ain't getting past our citizens. We'll kill them all.
Well, that's the thing with, like, a lot of people have problem with, because America, we're kind of, like, on our own, like, island. Honest to God. Like, if you really look at it, like, you have to get past, assuming we've already invaded you with, like, the Army and Navy and Air Force, you got past all of them. You now have to deal with the Coast Guard, local police, NRA members, gangsters, and just about anyone with a gun. But almost every single American has one. And that's kind of the joy of America, is that the American government kind of like, that's why it's really tricky, because the American government wants to help people. You know, it wants to give them like social programs and give them money, but at the same time it wants to give them independence.
Yeah.
To do what they want, give them freedom. And that's a very tricky thing. But do you believe in freedom or security? This is a classical old communist twister that
Well,
they always give you.
So does freedom mean we don't get security?
Yes. With freedom.
That's not true.
No, it is. If you are free to make your own decisions, you will not be secure, because you could be hurt in your freedom. But if you're secure, you won't get hurt, but you won't have freedom.
What?
It's something a lot of communists say it with that intent, and it's
But I
very
feel like just because
difficult.
we have our freedom doesn't mean we're not going to be secured in our country.
Well, no, you will get hurt.
No.
If you have the freedom to go out and buy a gun, you will shoot yourself in the foot. You could shoot yourself in the foot and you could hurt yourself.
I could. Doesn't mean I'm going to.
But you will. So if you give the government that freedom away, you guarantee yourself that security of you can't go out and buy a gun and shoot yourself in the
freedom,
foot.
bro, because if people are going to be dumb and shoot their own foot, that's their fault.
And that's what makes you American.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will just be like, oh, okay, I'll take security, then I don't want to get hurt.
Okay, bro.
I don't want to get fucking shot.
All right, Ted, so what am I on the political schedule?
I think you're a liberal Republican.
Epic.
Epic.
I'm gonna have to take a test.
Epic.
But
The tests are evil. The tests